Selen, could you tell us a little bit, first of all, about what you're studying and where you're at, and then where you're at in the program? You're a PhD student now, focused on marketing, but tell us a little more specifically, what are your special focus areas, and where are you at now?
I'm studying marketing, but I was interested in consumer behavior and actually the cultural effects on consumer behavior. So I had the chance to take inter-organizational relations in terms of culture, a course. So I had the chance to see the culture part, but unfortunately, I will take the consumer behavior class in this fall. So I need to take more classes to say that I know marketing. But until now, I start to get interested in services marketing because my advisor's main area is services marketing. And it's interesting, my advisor is also interested in Islamic marketing, and we attended a conference about Islamic marketing, and he takes many ideas from me because I'm coming from a Muslim country and from Turkey. So actually, I contribute him a lot with my background. So, and one of them is corporate social responsibility. So I try to combine everything, corporate social responsibility and marketing, and sometimes services marketing. And for until now, I'm working on these topics. But at the end of this June, we will attend a services marketing conference, and our main focus there is consumer tipping. So it is different kind of topics, but I'm just trying to understand what is going on in marketing and in the areas that I am interested in to actually can have a good focus for my dissertation.
Mm-hmm. So your status now is as a student who has finished 2 years of, of the PhD program. So can you take us through what was it like to be a first year student? When you look back on your first year, how would you describe that to somebody who's considering going for a PhD?
First of all, he or she should be very ready to work a lot because in the first year you forget about your life. Uh, it is very hard because it's the adaptation period, and if you're an international student, it is two times harder because you're trying to adapt the language, especially different accents, different environment, a different country culture, and also the school's culture. Because in Turkey, the kind of education is very different than the American education. Apart from that, you in the first year you're reading very very slow, and it makes you discouraged. The professors are a little bit hard. You This is PhD. This is not a master's or undergrad, and you need to contribute a lot. You need to ask questions. You need to have very. You need to work very efficiently. So first year is a little bit has thunderstorms, and it's very normal. Uh, but in the second year, actually, these start to change.
Tell us about that transition. What does get better and what is just different?
You start to read a lot faster. You start to write faster. My English improved a lot, and professors start to see that because in the first semester, there are some classes that I couldn't say even a word because my colleagues are all Americans, and the conversation was so fast that I couldn't interrupt that. I couldn't just talk. But in the second year, I was amazed with myself because I could contribute, and I could talk fluently, and I could show that I am here, and you need to accept my accent, like everything. So And I start to study real faster. The professors start to get to know us a lot, so they start to help us a lot. They knew that we could get through the first year. Our grades were pretty fine. So they start to get interested in more about our research, about our studies, and they start to help us a lot in terms of research. And you just see a great kind of improvement in terms of your education, in terms of your skills. And of course, you start to have a much better papers.
That's good. Let's talk about the professors for just a second longer. How would you describe your interaction with professors during the first year compared to the second year?
First year, they are very distant because they don't know if you will stay in the program. And I knew a few students were sent out of the program, and they were actually international students. They couldn't just do it. And when the professors realized that you can't get through the first year, they thought that you can't finish this program. So let's not take your time, and you can continue your life differently. So you have a lot of pressure. In the second year, after you made it through, professors are more relaxed. They start to get to know you, so your interactions start to get much better. I really realized this difference between the first and second year, because they don't know if you're hardworking, if you're doing it well, until you passed all your classes in the first year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. So in the second year, you start to develop a relationship with the professors. What are the differences in coursework? Were there any real differences between the first year student work, the coursework, and the second year coursework? How would you describe that?
Actually, the load is the same, because of that the first year was very tough for you because they expect the same things. In the second year, actually, the reading load is the same, but they want you to write much better. So you can't write as like a first year student. They expect more in terms of writing. So they expect you to get used to more the academic kind of language. You need to use big words. You can't be just simple. In the first year, when I look at my papers in the first year, they're like the ones that I wrote in masters. But in the second year, the expectations are high, but the workload difficulty, especially the statistics, they start to get real harder, because in your dissertation you need to use real good kind of analysis. So you need to know stats very well. So it is getting harder and harder. But the readings are almost the same, because in every class you are reading something different. So you have actually 400, 500 pages every week. In the first year is the same, second year is the same.
My. So that seems like a pretty heavy reading load. What does it do for you as far as time? What kind of time commitment do you have as a student in classes, and what kind of time commitment is there to do the work outside, like reading and writing?
So we have 9 hours of classwork, and I also need to work 20 hours for my research assistantship. Other than that, outside the school, you're always working. Just 9 hours you should be in that class, but other than that, you're always working. Sometimes maybe 18 hours a day. It's really hard to sometimes taking a day off, especially in the first year, because they expect us. In the first month, I was thinking like, this is a human can't do that. It's impossible. But you realize that you can, because you're getting faster. And I see that it's not. At the beginning I was thinking like, because my English, I'm not American, like it's not my native language. Maybe because of that I'm having this difficulty. But my friends said that they are having the same kind of difficulty, because they can't even understand the articles, although it's their language. So getting used to that language of the articles, what at the beginning I was reading all of it. No, you shouldn't read all of it. You should skip some parts. So as you move through the program, you understand what you need to do so that you can save some time to yourself. But yeah, it is a very high kind of commitment.
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about something you just mentioned. It's the 20 hours a week that you're working as a research assistant. Could you describe a little bit about your responsibilities as a research assistant and what is the typical research assistant role in your program?
You need to contribute to your advisor's research. So he's taking some ideas from you, and the way they assign is very. They match your interest with your advisor. So you're working on the project your advisor. For example, he's starting a new paper, you need to collect some information, you need to conduct research, maybe you need to collect some data, do the data analysis for him. Other than that, he has some teaching load, and you need to support that too, like entering the grades or sitting in the classroom taking notes, especially these kind of responsibilities. But the truth is, sometimes they want you to finish 20-hour work, but sometimes they know that you are very busy, and in some weeks they let you just study and maybe just have 10 hours of work. So they are flexible in terms of this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how was your research assistantship different from year 1 to year 2? Was it the same, or did you see a difference?
In this year, my advisor didn't expect me to write something because he knew that I need to improve myself. So most of the time I did some data analysis for him. I entered data, clean the data, those kind of things. I helped his teaching load. In the second year, he wanted me to start writing. So while we're preparing a paper, I start to contribute. I start to write. But my advisor was, I think I was very lucky. My advisor helped me a lot. For example, he let me present in a conference in my first year. For example, my colleagues' advisors didn't let them to present. They want them just to watch and see what's going on. He threw me to the seat, which is very good. So I'm much more confident now in my second year. So actually, it also depends on the advisor. Not all the advisors are the same.
Okay, so you're saying that there is variability in how the research assistantships are conducted. It's influenced a lot by the needs and.
Exactly, it is very important, and there should be a good relationship. So they say it is also 40% politics in the PhD program. It is very important because if you develop good relationships, they everything goes much better. This is very true. I think this is exactly how it is in life. Because I know that some of my friends have disputes with their advisors, and it didn't turn out well for their PhD life.
Sure, sure. You would definitely want to be friendly and have a productive relationship with your faculty
They
advisor.
need to,
So, okay. Well, let's focus now
but
on.
of course you need to support it with your hard work.
Let's talk now about the transition, or let's say the status of a second year student who's becoming a third year student. Could you describe what's next in your PhD experience?
Normally in the PhD program, at the end of the second year, you have your comprehensive exams, and if you pass them, you start your dissertation. Ours is a little bit different because our professors decide to give us more classes. So I have 6 more months to start my dissertation. And of course, in January, I need to pass the comps to start. But at this stage, I start to shape some ideas for my dissertation. So from now on, the papers that I will write for my classes will be on the way to the dissertation. So I won't just pick a topic and work on it and then forget about it after the class. So now I really start to work on the beginning of the dissertation.
Okay, so it sounds like the additional courses in this case are really helpful.
Yeah, one will be a data analysis that we will use for our dissertation, and the other one will be the consumer behavior. I want to take this course a lot because one of the professors who needed to teach consumer behavior was not available in the first 2 years of our PhD, and now she's very willing to teach it in the fall, so we needed to take this class in this fall.
Oh, good, good. So in a general sense, this is different than most PhDs where you have 2 years of coursework and then you start the dissertation phase. In this case, you'll have an additional semester of courses. But what do you think is the transition between being a class student and being a dissertation student? When you're at that stage, let's say spring semester of next year, what will your life be like as a student? What will your typical day be?
First, the first difference is in the first 2 years, you have the deadlines that your professors have for you. But when I start my dissertation, I will have my own deadlines. So I need to motivate myself on my own. And I need to I need to plan very carefully because I need to finish my dissertation in 2 years, and I need to make my advisor focus my dissertation because the professors have lots of things to do, and sometimes if they see that you're neglecting or you're just don't work on your dissertation, they just move their focus to their own work. So I need to I will work on my own more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Will you have much interaction? And now I know that I'm asking you to predict, but how will your interaction be different with your faculty advisor during that phase?
Yeah, it will be much more because he will be the only person that I'll be responsible to. So I will see him more, I will talk to him more, and he will be like a family member. I know that from my friends
Mm-hmm.
who are writing their dissertation. Yeah.
Okay. And what about your role as a research assistant? That will continue, correct?
Actually, in the third and fourth year, I will be teaching assistant. So I'm sure my advisor will give me some kind of research load again, but at the same time, I will be teaching. So in the first 2 years in this program, you're research assistant, and in the third and fourth year, you'll be teaching assistant. So I will teach 1 or 2 classes.
Mm-hmm. What do you expect to be the kind of courses? What do you think you might teach?
Um, I watched marketing strategy course, which my advisor was giving. So probably I will teach marketing strategy, and I'll be willing to teach consumer behavior, but I think I will do it after taking the consumer behavior class.
Sure, that makes sense. That's going to be early in your next year.
Yes.
Okay. So in a typical business PhD program, you've got, after the coursework, you've got 2 or 3 years to finish the dissertation. Typically, you said that you have 2 years.
Yes.
And based on your experience looking at and interacting with other students, does that seem like a reasonable amount of time?
Uh, Actually, I really didn't see any students who finished their PhD in 4 years. So 4.5, 5 years is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also lots of students who extend like to maybe to 6 years, to the sixth year or seventh year. So sometimes it's hard to finish. But the reason of this is that, for example, in their fourth year, they find a job in a university as assistant professors, and as they have their own research load, teaching load, they also continue their dissertation. Maybe because of that, the dissertation took maybe 3 or 4 years for them to finish.
Now, in some disciplines, the PhD programs actually take 6 to 7 years to complete, and that's pretty normal. Although I suspect that it varies widely by area and research interests. Well, it sounds like you're progressing nicely through the program and that you're still excited and enthusiastic about it. That seems to be clear. What kinds of surprises do you think prospective students should be aware of? Like if they're looking at PhD programs around the world, what what surprises should they keep their eyes open for, or what should they ask about that maybe you didn't know before you came?
First of all, actually, our faculty supports us a lot in terms of conferences and research, but I know that in some areas the faculty are not supportive in terms of financial support. So they should ask if they support the students for the conferences, for their traveling expenses. If they don't, they need to make their own budget for the conferences, which is not very likely. So it is really important. The financial support is very important for the PhD student, for their research and for their travel for the conferences.
Sure, sure. And that seems like a critical component to both professional development, networking, and refining your own research interests as well as your presentation abilities.
Exactly. And the other thing is, they should ask which classes they will take. It is very important because they can compare the programs in terms of the name of the classes. So, for example, they want to have a specialization on, for example, services marketing, but there is no PhD course in services marketing. So it may be a waste of time, or there should be a professor who is interested in his or her topic. This is very important because you need to like what you're studying. If you don't like it, it may be a torture because it is a very hard work. It's a high commitment. So before entering the program, they should be very careful about these kind of things.
Sure, of course, of course. Okay, well, as we kind of conclude our discussion about being a PhD student, is there anything else that you'd like to add for those students that are still exploring and looking for programs?
They shouldn't just think, "Ah, I want to have a PhD, it will be great." A PhD is very different than the master's, undergrad. They really know that they want to have a PhD or they want to have an academic career. You can't just invest in this just to have a PhD. Be- um, because after you enter the program, you can be shocked with the coursework, the how much time it takes for you to study. So you should be passionate about your area, about your research, about your studies. And you shouldn't be discouraged, especially in the first year, because I know I have had a friend who just quit in the middle of the year. He thought he couldn't do it. So maybe you should be patient because it takes time to through, and you should keep going. You should keep reading, studying. These are the things that are valid after you enter the program, actually.
Sure, good
Yeah,
advice.
yeah, you shouldn't be get discouraged because the friends can discourage you, the family, the professors, but you should just keep going.
Terrific. Well, thanks for sharing your experience with us about being a PhD student in business, specifically in marketing, at
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic University. Those perspectives are very important for people as they consider their own graduate school plans and as they consider where they might study in the United States. This is really helpful feedback for them and input. And I hope that they will listen to your comments and interpret them for themselves and really make some good decisions about their plans.
You're welcome. It was really a great thing to share this experience. And whenever they want, they can contact me and I can give more information.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. So, Selen, it's great to hear that you're doing well. I think you're doing remarkably well. You seem
Oh, thank you.
excited and enthusiastic about everything. You really seem to be positive and have a good. Your face shows a good attitude.
Thank you. Yeah, I like being in the PhD program. It is very hard, but I don't know. This is what I want. So I like studying hard. I like the place I'm living in. So I think, yeah, I'm happy here. I'm very happy here.
That's super.
I hope I can pass my comps and finish my dissertation, and I can have my PhD, the doctor, in front of my name.
Of course. Well, you're almost halfway there, I guess.
Yeah.
Not quite, but getting there. So that's super. I'm really excited and glad that we could finally talk to you and see that you're doing well. Um, it's nice to see you progressing through this because you
Thank
worked so hard to get it and to make it a reality in the first place.
that is true, but your help was great. Like I'm always talking about you, about American advisors, and it it was great to work with you. I think if you weren't in my life, in my like admission period, it wouldn't happen. This is what I can say. Yeah.